Welcome back to Trades and Gains, everybody. I'm your host, Max Pitts, and I want to just welcome my market-making dirtbags and my stock trading queens to another edition of our daily market recap. And if you do like these videos, by the way, drop a subscription, leave a like, and turn on notifications because I do post these daily. But this is where fundamentals go to die and flow tells the truth. So let's go ahead, stop with the foreplay, and just dive straight into why the S&P 500 just hit its sixth straight record. And this is not a victory lap for it either. Wall Street posted another record close, but barely. The S&P 500 saw a 0.02% rise. Again, that sixth straight record. The NASDAQ saw a 0.33% rise, another record. No big deal. AI still paying them bills for you. And the Dow Jones was down 0.20%. Now, why does this matter? Well, the stocks barely budged, but don't let the snooze fest fool you. This week is the financial equivalent of WrestleMania. Big tech earnings, a Fed meeting, jobs data, and a trade deadline on deck. Today was just the deep breath before the chaos. If you're not paying attention, well, guess what, folks? You're already behind. This was just, flicking the bick, getting the feel for it before the fire takes over. Now, the first thing we had was a trade truce, or was this just a timeout? Trump claimed a massive trade deal with the EU, locking in a 15% tariff. Beats the 30% he threatened, but EU leaders mostly responded like, sure, Jan. Now, why does this matter? Markets love certainty, but this ain't it. The China trade talks are next, and if those go sideways, say hello to volatility and goodbye to your bullish July calls here. Now, we also have big tech earnings coming in next. Who will carry this rally ultimately? This week's lineup, we have Microsoft and Meta on Wednesday, and we have Apple, Amazon, and PayPal on Thursday. These are the MVPs of the rally. If they miss, the whole index catches the flu. If they beat, we might melt up into August like it's 2021 all over again. Now, why does this matter? Because valuations are beyond stretched. One slip here and there will be a tech tantrum like you've never seen before. So don't get caught chasing candles, instead of waterfalls, candles, because don't chase candles, chase a thesis and conviction. That's what, don't chase anything. Just have a thesis and have an idea of why you're doing what you're doing and what you expect to happen. And that's the best way to go about earnings plays. Now, the Powell time, will Big Daddy J flinch is the question on everybody's mind here. The FOMC decision is going to drop on Wednesday. Rates, they're staying put. No questions asked there. There's a 64% rate cut chance right now for September, but I even see that dropping and us moving later out. Unless, I just don't see it realistically. But the real question behind all this, will Jerome Powell start laying the groundwork for a September rate cut or keep acting like politics aren't pushing him harder than a Peloton class? Yeah, that's the big question for the day. This isn't about rate policy anymore, folks. It's about optics. Trump's throwing elbows, inflation's cooling, and Powell's stuck playing monetary twister right now. So really, we're going to look for him to blink, wink, or fart for any type of indication of what mood he is in. Forget the ties. It's all about him flinching. Now, we also have some eyes on inflation, labor data, PCE, and jobs report are looming, baby. Like I said, we got a macro buffet for you guys, so don't say it ain't boring. PCE inflation is coming in on Thursday, the Fed's favorite number, brother. And then the jobs report is coming in on Friday. It includes unemployment rate, wage growth, and job additions as well. Now, why does this matter? We're priced for a Goldilocks economy. But if inflation ticks up or jobs cool too much, it nukes the soft landing fantasy that everybody is hoping for. Now, let's talk about some of our wild cards for the day. Our wild cards for the day, we had FLYY first, down 2.4%. Spirit Airlines is sending 270 pilots packing and demoting 140. Welcome to the post-bankruptcy cost-cutting season, baby. Coin was down 3.6%. Analysts downgrade plus low trading volume. Sad crypto exchange stock. Nike was up 3.9% with a JPM Morgan upgrade. Just do it again and do it one more time. BA, we saw a nice 1.4% pop. Boeing's earnings are coming. Will they turn around and finally lift off, or are they gonna blow another engine or lose another door? I guess only time will tell, folks. We also saw LNG stocks. EU energy binge equals liquefied natural gas mania. And then we also saw NVIDIA and AMD up. Samsung plus Tesla chip collab. AI gang for life. Now, why does this matter? These moves are tea leaves. Watch flows, not headlines, people. Now, let's move over to our favorite options flow software, Investor Central Club, where for only a couple more days, by the way, so get on this now, we are running the July 2025 promo. You can get 25% off an annual subscription. Get locked in for the year at a great rate. And you only got to pay for it once and not think about it. But that's the end of my spiel. Let's go ahead and talk about some of our big boy plays from today. So our top thing came in today. We had a SPY call coming at 3:23 p.m. for the $700 calls. These are far out though, man, far out. And I'm not talking like hippie far out, but like a long time away, because these are in December 17th of 2027. It looks like someone has some long-term bullishness for SPY hitting that $700 target, aiming for end of year next year. They spent $16.98 million, but it was also a $5,600 average, or $56.61. The expected move is 10% in the next 2 years. Seems pretty safe. IWM came in hot and heavy, $11.23 million for the August 29th of 2025 220 puts. $3.66 average, 30,000 in volume against 30,000 in open interest. That's a good sign. It looks like someone's expecting a lot more pain with the small guys and the small cap market specifically. QQQ, we also saw the 575 calls get lit up for $10.17 million, a $16.67 average. It looks like we have some tech bullishness, which makes sense. And they gave themselves some time because these aren't due until October 17th of 2025. Now, SPY, this is interesting. It looks like we have some more bearishness heading into the market because we got IWM here, we got SPY here, and these are 625 puts. These are due for August 15th of 2025, and 9.59 million was dropped on these. A $3.12 average, not bad. And this is definitely someone expecting some more downside on that SPY momentum we've been seeing recently. Are they going to be right? We'll have to wait and see, because we can also see some 550s, 630s. We also see some 595s down here. So we're seeing some more SPY bearishness than we are bullishness, other than this long shot, which is kind of the exemption here. Now, we also saw Microsoft, actually. Let's start with them because we have earnings with them coming up next. Someone has the October 17th of 2025 510 calls. $8.63 million dropped here, but a $24.65 average. Microsoft's contracts are always juiced to the tits, so I'm not shocked to see this. NVIDIA, 190 calls due for next year, 6/18 of 2026. Again, that's long-term bullishness here, but that's also a $2,200 average that you're paying for that premium as well. The open interest is good at 21K, so that's a great sign. Love that play. MicroStrategy, we got 390 calls due for September 19th of 2025, 5.15 million dropped, but $42.95 dropped per contract. That is a very aggressive bet that most people are not going to be able to afford. Those were our top 6 from the day. Now, when we go and flip the script and look at our unusual, where the weirdos go and play, we had, again, SPY leading the pack. Palantir, these might have got crushed because I guess Palantir's biggest customer just announced that they are planning on becoming less reliant on them, which is not a great thing to hear from a company that is trading at such a high PE ratio and has such an aggressive valuation. We also saw ITB with a $1.05 million premium on the 130.01 strike for January 15th of 2027. It looks like that ETF for housing is getting some love here. Now let's go ahead and flip the script and talk about some dark pool data, where the creepers go to creep in the shadows and not disrupt the markets. So some of our big retail names today, Tesla, we saw 683 million deployed here at the 325.59 level. Citi, we saw 665 million deployed at the 95.55 level. IVV was getting lit up all day, as we can see here. These are usually flights to safety. I'm not shocked when we're seeing all these SPY calls. Typically, when we see a lot of SPY calls that are big money prints, we're going to see a lot of IVV big money prints as well in the dark pools. NVDA, though, at the 176.75 level, we saw 353.4 million deployed here. Another more IVV, and then we got Apple at the 214.05, 247.78 million, which is a good sign, especially the week of earnings. So this means that we could look at this as a level where we see institutions start to step in a little more aggressively here over the next couple days if we see some drawbacks from our big tech manufacturer. Now, today's flow scanner was a little bit flat. Now, again, today we were flicking the lighter. We were getting the feel for it. We were flicking the bean. We were, just splashing. We were splashing around in the water. We didn't get fully in there yet. So SPY only saw 59.9 million in flow. However, it was a kind of a split party, 26 million going into calls against 33 million into puts. NVIDIA came into second with 32 million in total flow, with 29.4 million going into calls against only 2 million in puts. So we know where the sentiment is lying there. IWM got lit up like a Christmas tree, in not a good way, because they're seeing nothing but red. 22.48 million in total overall volume for premiums today, with 3.15 million of that going into puts, but 19 million going into puts, only 3 million going into calls. That is not a great sign, right? QQQ came up 19.35 million on the day, 13.9 million going into calls against 5 million in puts. We know the vibes. Tesla, 17.7 million, with 10 million going into calls against 7 million in puts. Again, welcome to the casino. Tesla and NVIDIA typically trade like casinos, except for days like today where we see some extreme bullishness. AMD, wow, popping in again. 10.36 million going in, 8.68 million going into calls against 1.68 million going into puts here. And that's all we really had from the Investor Central Club side of things. It looks like tech is still king. We're still seeing some slackerness from these other names as well, but not to worry, because tomorrow is when all chaos is going to break and ensue. So what are our key takeaways here? What do we want to take away from this? Well, SPY Whale may know something, or they were just bored, if we're being honest. The ITB, housing rotation watch here. IVV dark pools, protection mode activated, as I mentioned. Palantir, option soap opera right now. And QQQ still has legs for now. So are we going to melt up or melt down? Drop your hottest take below and tag your trading guru. This is not financial advice, just vibes and VIX lotto tickets. Hope you have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share if you made it to the end of this. If you didn't, I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you all have a great night, and watch out for our closing bell earnings edition stream happening tomorrow.